continuing on the functions of secondary functions of commercial banks. 6 points we had covered earlier. Now continuing with the seventh one, housing finance. Housing finance, it is the finance provided for construction or modifications of a house by the National Housing Bank. Again, we have discussed this point earlier. Just to refer to it, that there's a National Housing Bank that is set up by the Reserve Bank of India or the Government of India in order to take up all the necessary legal formalities and all the procedures only by one institution, that is the National Housing Bank. So they provide funds or they provide financial assistance in terms of construction of a house, or you want to modify the house, etc. Anything related to house and the legal procedures to be followed by, you can only go to one institution, that is the National Housing Bank, which is exclusively for this purpose. Next up, 8 point, we have tax consultancy. The bank offers complete tax service, which consists of advice on income tax, prepare the annual statement, claiming allowances, etc. So here you remember tax consultancy. Now every person, in the budget we always hear, right, that there is a tax slab that is given. Up to 5 lakh the tax is nil, and above that it is 5%, up to 10 lakh, and above 10 lakh it is 10%, etc. These are the tax slab rates that has been revised every year by the Government of India. Correct? So every corporation, that is the companies, joint stock, partnership or sole proprietor, or individuals like professions, whoever is employed and having the income that is above the taxable limit, okay, up to a limit you don't have to pay taxes. For example, let's say 2,50,000. Your total annual income for the entire 12 months is 2,50,000. You do not have to pay any kind of tax to the government. But then if you cross that to about 2,50,000, if your income is crossed for one given calendar year, or let's say financial year, then you are liable to pay taxes according to the slab rates to the government. Is that clear? And now, yes, we have chartered accountancy who can file our statements, or who can help us understand how to save our taxes, not to avoid taxes. Please remember that it is to plan our taxes, or to how to save our taxes, because none of us would love to pay taxes, right? Nobody likes to pay taxes, but we are bound to pay taxes to our government, irrespective of it's a profession, right? As a businessman or as a company or anything, we are bound to pay taxes. Now here there is something called as tax planning. In order to avoid too much of taxes to be paid, instead the taxable income, if you're making any kind of investment in, say, government bonds, okay, government securities, or let's say your investment is into post office savings, there are few certain investment avenues where if you invest into them, you can reduce your taxability. Understand? For an example, if your taxable income is rupees 100 and your tax on that 100 rupees is 10%, this is just an example. If out of that 100 rupees, if you are ready to invest a part of that money into post office savings or government bonds, anything with relate to having tax benefits, then you can avoid paying full amount of taxes on it, right? Let's say you have 20 rupees you have invested into that. So your taxable income is only how much? 80 rupees. So 10% will be on 80 rupees and not on 100 rupees. You're understanding the difference here? So making sure you're now every other person cannot understand this, how to file a tax, how much should I pay tax, when should I pay tax, all these legal formalities, correct? So we always go to a chartered accountant. Now chartered accountant is going to do our job in terms of tax filing and payment of tax, but not for free. Definitely he's going to charge a huge commission or a huge fees for that, correct? So here commercial banks are going to come for our rescue for a common man. Not everybody can afford a chartered accountant, right? So we go to commercial bank and we explain to them, this is my income, or this is my annual income for the year. How am I supposed to file taxes? How can I save my taxes? Instead of paying to the government, let me invest into an avenue which would give me return in a couple of years. So all these questions, instead of going to chartered accountant in a lesser fees or in a lesser commission, I go and approach the commercial bank. So commercial bank will help me in assisting how to file my taxes, when should I pay my tax, how do I claim allowances. Okay, if there is a person in the income tax act, okay, there is provisions. If there is a person who is disabled and still he is earning income, he cannot be charged the same tax rate as per the other people. Is that clear? There can be certain allowances for a handicapped person. There can be some allowances for a widow. There can be some allowances for certain category of people. So how do I understand this law, this conditions or the provisions laid down by the law? I just approach the commercial bank. So commercial bank is going to give us the tax consultancy services in these forms: preparing advice on income tax, preparing the annual statement, and claiming allowances. Hope you have understood 7th and 8th point. Number 9, credit cards. The credit card enables the customer to purchase goods or services up to certain limit without making immediate payment. The banks assume the risk and responsibility of collecting the dues from the customers. Now we always commonly understand a debit card and a credit card. Debit card is you use your own money. Basically, you're earning money and you're spending it. Whereas credit card, no. Even if you don't have your own money, you borrow money and then purchase goods and services. On a later point of time, with an added interest, you have to pay back to the commercial banks, or to the respective bank where you have taken the credit card. Understood? So credit card facility is another secondary function that is provided by the commercial bank or any respective bank. Now what is the benefit for the bank is, banks are going to earn a higher rate of interest on credit card, okay, just to boost the purchasing power. Now right now that we have the all EMI facilities, you don't have to pay one shot all the amount of let's say the good or services. Instead, you can divide the entire amount into equal monthly installments. Okay, so using credit card facility, people can purchase goods and services and pay at a later point of time. Point number 10, consultancy function. Banks set up consultancy cell to provide consultancy services to small scale industries. It covers technical, financial, managerial services, etc. So here I'm talking about specifically aiming at small scale industry. I'm sure these small scale or micro industries are not able to move towards a higher technical side, or how to set up a business, or how do I administer the business administration part, the managerial decision part. Okay, how do I manage my finance, right? I just have the idea of manufacturing the goods and selling it. All the other things are equally important for a business to actively exist or efficiently work in terms of administration, managing my money, or financial management, or decision making in the management. All these work together for the efficiency of a business. So who comes for our rescue? Commercial banks. So consultancy means you get to talk to the banks and they're going to advise you in terms of how to manage money. How much capital should the small scale industry raise? Where should it invest the capital? From where should it procure its fixed assets or working capital? Right? The managerial decisions. When should you produce? In which particular state should you set up your factory where your cost of labor or cost of raw material is the lowest, because your profit margin can increase that way. So all these kinds of advices or suggestions are provided by the commercial bank in the form of consultancy function. The last two functions, teller system. The teller is authorized to receive cash and make payments up to a limited amount without reference to the ledger balance or the specimen signature. So we are just going back to the past where banks where we used to have a long queues to withdraw our money or even deposit money, correct? To withdraw our own money, we had to stand in the queues for so long to withdraw our own money. If you can just recall the day of where 1,000 rupees and other notes were denomination was lost, correct? The power of that currency was lost, and the entire uh, government introduced a new set of currency notes. At that point of period, how many people you would have watched in the news or standing in the queues for replacing their old currency, etc., correct? Now this system was to be avoided, or you can overcome the situation by not even going to the bank, but then you complete your transaction right at a machine, or right at an ATM kiosk, right, or at your laptop, at your phone. You can just send money or receive money using a teller system. So all the information about a particular customer, how much deposits he has, whether it's current account or savings account, everything is fed into the system. Now usually banks, your signature is cross verified, correct? Now here you can carry on the same transaction without anybody verifying your signature. There is only a pin number or a code number that is mentioned to or given to each customer, and you can access your given accounts using that pin number. It can be withdrawal, it can be deposit, or it can be even to drop a check. Again, you don't have to go to a bank. There is a system inside the ATM kiosk as well, correct? So 12 point, underwriting of securities. Commercial banks underwrite a portion of public issue if shares, bonds and debentures of company. Such underwriting provides an indirect form of insurance to companies on public subscriptions falling short of expectations. So in short, what is underwriting of securities is, now let's say there is a new startup company, okay, and the company wants to become a public company, right? You remember I explained to you what is public company, what is private company, what is an IPO, initial public offering, when companies want to invite public to invest into their company. You remember these topics? That is what here you can relate to. When a company or a startup company wants to go public, okay, a startup company wants to go public, let's say it needs 10 lakh rupees of capital, and instead of taking a bank loan, the company is going to decide, let me issue shares, okay, equity shares to public. Let public come and invest into my company. Let's say each share equity share is priced at rupees 100. Now because I'm a startup company, the public or the society does not know the potential of my company. They're always doubtful about whether this company will prosper or not, whether this business will be a profitable venture or not, right? There is no that confidence. I'm yet to gain the confidence of the public or society as a startup company. So what I do is I approach the commercial banks. Commercial banks are going to underwrite my shares or underwrite my securities. What is this whole process is? Let's say 10 lakh rupees, no? Once I issue to the public, let's say only 60%, that is 60,000 rupees is what I have got when I issued shares to the public. Rest 40,000 is still nobody has subscribed, but I'm still in need of capital. So I go to commercial banks. Commercial banks are going to purchase that 40,000 of equity shares. Basically, in legal form, it is called as underwriting of securities. Can you read that line? Commercial banks underwrite a portion of public issue of shares, bonds or debentures. So it's not just shares, bonds or debentures also commercial banks can purchase it. Now, what does this underwriting helping the company means? Such underwriting provides an indirect form of insurance. Now, because I'm a startup company, people are yet to trust or see the potential of my business. But when I say, let's say I have approached SBI Bank. SBI is one of the largest and the oldest banks in India, correct? It is one of the primary bank for the development of India. Now, if I say SBI, State Bank of India, has taken as purchase my securities, Okay, SBI has underwritten my securities or shares of my company. What will the public immediately think? They automatically get that confidence. Yes, there is a strong, or there is a commercial bank itself supporting this company, then definitely this company has a potential of profit making or potential of business to grow in the future. Is that clear? So when I see a commercial bank associating with a company, then I know, yes, this is a company that is worth investing into. So that way, for the company, it's going to act as a insurance, an indirect form of insurance. Because why? Using the bank name, I get the assurance or trust from the public or society to the companies on the public subscriptions falling short of expectations. Falling short of expectations means the same, because people have still not known about the potential of my business. So they don't expect my business to grow or expect my business to be profitable, right? My expectations are falling short in that particular time. So I approach the commercial bank, and commercial bank is going to help me out in underwriting my securities. That way the confidence was going to boost up in the public, and also it will act as an indirect form of insurance for my company. Is that clear to you? Point 11 and point 12, teller system and underwriting of securities. So today we studied housing finance, tax consultancy, credit cards, consultancy function, teller system and underwriting of security.